How did yesterday go, Jimmy?
It was good. It was Anthony went. He's still there today, but he's going to rehab, I guess, tomorrow. And
Tomorrow?
What's tomorrow? Friday? Yeah, he's going for Saturday.
Right.
So he announced it, and Keith told me a while ago, and this like, hey, we were going to announce it this day, and Ron was going to go. So we went on, and I got there, and I got there like quarter after because I had my advice show, but they were already talking about it. So it was I guess a relief for him to say that. So I hope it works, man. I really, really hope it works.
You think he's going to take it seriously?
Yeah. I talked to him. I've only seen him once in the last 3 months, and we sat, we had dinner, and we talked about it. And he was like, it seems like a lot of the problems revolve around that. Like he was talking about it. It wasn't like, no, really, dude, and him like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
He was kind of bringing it up. So I hope you always hope that it sticks,
right?
And for him,
was it a fun show yesterday with you and
with Ronnie? Yeah, it was good. Yeah. It's always a good time. I mean, we were
were you busting balls at least?
Oh yeah, of course.
The jokes were aplenty.
Yeah. It was never that heavy. It was just he talked about it, and he had a lot of questions, like legit questions. It was funny because at one point we were teasing him about something, and he goes, "This is how it feels." Must be with the way when you guys ask questions to a scientist, like this is how it feels on the other end, like asking these childish questions at the answers. But
what kind of questions was he asking?
Just about like, am I going to like I forget the question, but it's like basic stuff. Like you're afraid you're not going to be able to have fun anymore. You're afraid you're not going to be able to laugh anymore. You're afraid of all these things. Like, am I going to be able to communicate? Like all this weird stuff. Will I still be funny? And it's just this irrational stuff where you start to think like I'm only funny because I'm doing that. And it's like, dude, that's blocking you being as funny as you are.
Probably.
I think the good time thing is the one.
Yeah.
But people were immersed, him going out and doing karaoke or something like that, having a few beers, that was fun. But now it's like, am I really going to go into a bar sober and go sing or whatever, stuff like that? Go to a concert or watch his favorite show and drink a few beers, play cards with his buddies and not have beer.
It's like this habit, like with smoking, you convince yourself that it's part of who you are. Like, and that's part of the way we stay hooked on stuff is we like, oh, I can't do this without that.
Right.
And it's like, you're not funny because of that. That might lower inhibitions, but how about all the times you're vomiting the next day or you're not getting up till 6 p.m. on a Saturday or you're tweeting things you regret or you're saying things you regret or you're fucking having arguments like we forget all that shit and then we just put it like, oh man, I had a good time playing cards. Like you said, and all that stuff comes back.
Seems like a tough spot though. A lot of his life, revolves around the party.
Sure, but again, that you do quickly
how do you
adjust to that.
Oh, you do.
Oh,
I was going to ask you, how do you work around that?
It'll take a while. I mean, again, for me, it was so many years ago, and I had less of a full life at that age than he has now, or anyone who in their 50s has now.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more stuff to replace, and a lot of habits that have been there longer. But it's all of a sudden you realize like the bad is not there either. Like, fuck, man, I'm clear-headed. I'm getting more shit done. I'm saying I'm going to do something, and I'm actually doing it because I'm up the next morning. Like, all this other stuff that will balance out.
Right.
And eventually you just adjust pretty quickly.
That fucking drinking gets old, man. I know we're talking to a lot of people right now that are still way into it, but it just gets old.
Duff from GNR had a great point. He goes, you're always looking for that next big party, and it never happens.
Yeah.
You're always out going, I'm going to miss something tonight. I got to be out there. I got to stay out. I got to go to the next club, 6, 7 in the morning, because something's going to happen. He goes, and it never does.
He's a guy that really figured it out, too.
Yep.
When it came down that he was going to stop drinking, he had to, right? Pretty much they said if he continued, he was going to die. And I remember thinking, there's no way this guy's going to stop partying. You forget the type of partying that he did back in the day. But he's living a full life.
I think he's been sober since like 93 or 94.
That long now.
Maybe 95, something like that,
So that's 20 years, 20 plus years.
He went to school, and it's like he would have been dead years ago.
Easily
been dead.
He would have never made it.
And, and he's playing, and things are great, and he's a bright guy. He fucking managed his money smart. Like, all these things that you do, as much as Ant's a smart guy, he makes decisions that he'll probably make better when he's not doing that. And, it's like, there's ways to hit bottom, and it beats being in jail.
Sure.
It beats running somebody over.
Well, I mean, I certainly hope he gets something out of it.
Yeah, I do too.
He leaves what, tomorrow?
I think tomorrow he's going. Yeah, and hopefully he'll be all right. And we're gonna do some different guys going in subbing, doing shows. Just so, yeah, man, the machine will keep working. You're not gonna lose anything. Your gig's not gonna be gone when you get back. It'll be here.
I think he'll. I mean, I haven't known him lately, but I think he'll do. He'll do if he chooses a sober life, he'll be even better.
I think so too.
What he does. I've seen what that guy's capable of doing, especially when he's sober. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's absolutely ridiculous. So, I hope he has the confidence to know that inside.
Yeah, I hope so too. And it's one of those things that once you start doing it, 30 days is just a good deep breath play. Like
that doesn't seem like a lot of time to really unwind some shit.
No,
why is it only? Now I'm asking general questions.
Yeah. It be 6 months. What's the 6 month plan?
They have long-term ones too. I think a lot of that might be insurance and stuff like that. That's what it covers. But you really literally a detox is a week or 10 days, whatever it is, and that's really physically the part that you need. The other part is just to kind of get you a little bit of a foundation and get you familiar with maybe hitting a meeting here and there and talking about things. It's just a comfortable environment where you're not around the same people, places, and things for a month.
Yeah.
It's like a decompression. And you're like, okay. But again, it's an industry too, where the rehabs make money. But if you do what is suggested, it saves your ass.
It's amazing. I've always been amazed that it's only 28 days.
Yeah, they have long-term ones too.
But in general, most people, and maybe I shouldn't be talking badly about this because maybe it helped. But I know some of the stats where a lot of people it doesn't work after 28 days.
Most people who get sober don't stay sober. That's statistically the truth.
What's the percentage?
The one I heard was like less than 10 years ago.
Less than 10%
over the years. Yeah, but it's just people make the choice that they want to go back and do what they did. I mean, it's the rehabs. I don't know, 6 months. Those long-term places, I'm sure they're good for some people, but I never found them necessary. It's like all you have to do is, again, that 10 days or whatever to get your body where you're not shaking or throwing up. And then just start doing the right thing and talking to people you need to talk to.
Is that 10 days a motherfucker?
I imagine it is, yeah. Especially if you've been doing it a long time. I mean, it was less awful for me because I was so young. So it wasn't like I had fucking 30 years behind me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You didn't have the shakes or anything like that when you got
No, it was much more of a fucking a mental terror thing than it was that. It was unpleasant, but it wasn't like a detox where you're vomiting like from heroin or any of these things.
You think your body at the time was that addicted?
It was addicted, but not like...
You were only 17. I mean, how does that work? Can your body be that addicted?
Not on the level of a guy who's been doing it 20 years. No.
Yeah.
No, you have some and you feel it, but again, your detox is not life threatening. Like for guys who, I think alcohol is the most life threatening detox, more than even or Valium. Alcohol and Valium are even
is
more
that
than
dangerous?
Heroin. Oh yeah.
So how do they handle that?
Well, they have stuff that they do that probably eases you off a little bit, and you're in a facility. So if there's anything really bad happening, you're there. You're in a hospital. Or at least around medical professionals.
Yeah.
So, I was happy when he said he wanted to go.
I mean, so was I. To be honest with you, so was I. Like I said, I hope he gets something out of it. And I fully support him. Our relationship's not in a good place, but I'll always support him.
Yeah. Yeah, with that stuff, it's different. Like when it comes to like people fighting or being pissed at each other, it's one thing. But then there's that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's like if you find out someone is doing something on that level, you're like, yeah, the other stuff can wait. This is more important.
Yeah.
I got a friend that just a comic friend, sober, went through the 30-day program, has been sober for like 9 months now, loves it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Loves it.
Loves it.
Why does he love it?
It's just because he's getting so much more done. He's made amends to everybody that he pissed off and stuff. And he's just like, I get up in the morning, I'm at the gym at 7 in the morning instead of being hungover. I don't know what I did the night before, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
He just his stand-up's better and everything.
Nice. There's hope. There's hope out there.
And then he gets like a club soda at the bar when he's pretend that he's drinking with the chicks because they don't want to hear it that he's not. He's still not over that, so he just pretends he's drinking vodka soda.
They really don't want to hear it?
No, because he's trying to bang like 24-year-olds.
Yeah.
They don't want a 40-year-old sober dude sitting next to him. No, have another one, so he pretends he's drinking too.
So there's ways around that.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Because they don't want to hear it.
They don't want a 24-year-old chick doesn't want to hear it.
Oh, that's great.
After a comedy club. No, I'm sober now. I'm like, what?
Why are you watching me drink? It feels predatory to watch a girl drink. Yeah.
They want to know if you're carrying coke or not. They don't want to know you're drinking a
when you're
club
finished.
soda.
Yeah, when you're finished the show at 10:30, some chick's gonna let's go back to my hotel. She's like, we're gonna go out drinking.
Well, I mean that shit gives you the confidence. We all know that. So how do you get the confidence if you're not drinking?
It's just
at first,
like you get like better my self-esteem suffers sometimes, but like legitimately, it's all false self-esteem anyway.
Yeah,
it's fake. When you're drunk, it's all fake fucking confidence. It's fake this. It's manufactured. And you just kind of get rid of all that garbage and the real confidence. It takes a little while, but it does come.
Right.
It's funny. People get really weird when I talk about it. It's like, yeah, what do you know? You were 18. I got a guy on Twitter yesterday. And they're not even really being dicks. It's just like people don't understand how I think the same way at 47 or 48 or 46. Gee, I'm 46. That I did when I was 18. But it's like, look at my sexual behavior. Like, I was a compulsive guy then, and I'm a compulsive guy. Like, some things I just know are not different at this point.
I'm kind of one of those guys, but not in a hateful way like Twitter tends to be. I've always been surprised that you knew at 17, 18 that you had a problem because everyone around me, and I'm sure Florentine, everyone was just partying their balls off. So how through that haze do you understand and have self-realization that you have a problem at 17 or 18 years old?
I had a father who was sober, which helped. That helped a lot because he would tell me, and I also was forced into rehab at 17, and then a year later I wound up.
I believe you, but I do now believe you. But at first, when you started talking about this, I'm like, man, I can't imagine that you just understand that at 17 years old, 18 years old, because that's what you're. I mean, in a way, where I was from, that's what you were supposed to do. You turn 18. The drinking age was 18 back then, and then all hell broke loose for
we were drinking at 12,
a good 10 years or whatever it would be for the average person.
Me and my friends would get a case of beer, a case of like Bud cans, pretty much every night during a week. Me and two other guys would just drink a case of beer and just hang out.
Yeah. We used to do the case of beer just as warm-up because, we couldn't afford the drinks in the bar. And we did it like it was nothing. 3 guys, case of beer, that was 8 bears each, and then we would go out.
Yeah, then go to get there like 11 or 12, get a little primed.
And then we would drink our faces off and then drive home drunk. Yes, that's what us older people did. And that was like a normal night out, which sounds crazy, I know.
The first time I did it, I remember my friend worked at A&P. And I misunderstood something. And I remember the first time I got drunk, I was standing outside loaded. I was outside the A&P with a fucking box cutter, crying that I wanted to go in and cut him with a box cutter. Like, it was just, It was abnormal shit. Yeah, I know when teenagers are a little crazy, but if I'm wrong, and I really never needed to get sober, and I was just a crazy teenager, okay, well, my life is great. If I'm right, then I saved myself a tremendously disastrous life.
Yeah.
There's no advantage for me to question that. It's just, I don't, if other people do it, good, let them do it. I don't preach that it's wrong for everybody. Just for me, I can't do it.
I had a good run, man, from about 17 to, I started pushing 30, and those hangovers started to be like 2 days, 3 days sometimes, as far as still feeling kind of crappy. And I remember I was just wasting weekends after weekends. I'm like, man, I'm not even seeing the sun coming up or whatever. And then I just finally faded out of it. I was just done. I mean, I still drink, but not much at all, really.
But when you look at guys that drank, like say Ant, the way he drank alcoholically for all these years, what was he like? It's 18. He was probably drinking heavily.
Sure.
So it's like, at what point do people who think it's weird that you stop young? At what point do they go, "Oh, okay, then you should have stopped"? Mm-hmm. Like what is it that people need to see for them to think like, "Oh, okay, it was a problem for you"?
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what age is appropriate? If I was 21, would people go like, "Hey, you're 21"? It was, like, where does it,
I mean, maybe I had a problem drinking at 18. I don't know. I mean, I have no idea.
A lot of people do grow out of it too.
I just knew around 30, it was time to just kind of, not do that as much. I was sick of it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you look back on it and you go like, yeah, I mean, it was abnormal even in that group. But again, I don't wear it like a badge of honor. It is what it is.
No, it comes up in the conversation. Yeah. You're not out there, talking about this every day.
No, people. I don't talk about things with quote unquote junkie pride either. Like, there's people that when they talk about things they've done, I'll describe them. But then there's people like, dude, I was so fucked up. I don't claim to be the worst thing in the world. There's no melodrama with it.
Yeah.
Look, if you were blowing guys under a deck when you were a kid, you'd probably get sober at 18 too.
Yeah, there were other issues happening there. That's a great point, Jim.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
The voice of reason.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lifelong compulsion to do things that weren't healthy for me.
Well, that one I don't understand at all at that age.
Yeah, and that was before he was drinking.
I don't understand that, man. All I want to do is ride my bike.
Yeah, me too. Just I wanted the seat was questionable.
I just wanted to ride my bike and play army in the woods and try to build a shitty fort.
Yeah, I was an advanced boy.
Boy, were you.
Yeah, why didn't you do it in a fort?